Hey everybody, video here for you today. Just trying to get back in the swing of ancient history. I've got about 10 different lists that I do my videos off of. Haven't talked about ancient Turkey for a long time. This is a place that I know very little about, so I thought I'd do a video on it today. We are going down to Eski Misis, or known as Meisis, Turkey, right down here. I found a relatively new news story on this place. There are a lot of periods of history documented here. I just thought this was more interesting the more I looked into it. Never know what you're going to find, but this is a Roman bridge right here. This construction was originally Roman. I'm sure it's been fixed and reconstructed over the years, but the Romans were responsible for that. But what I was really interested in was this Neolithic tell right here. We'll get a good idea how big this is from some pics. I've talked about at least 25, 30 Neolithic sites in Turkey, including probably about 8 of them that had the T-shaped pillars, like Gobekli Tepe, but here's this place, right on the river here. Here we are down on Street View at the base of the mound, and this will give you an idea of how high this tell or tepe has been built up over time. Here's a story that came out about 6 days ago. Ancient city of Meisis to be new attraction center in southern Turkey. They do have some pics here. Here is one of them, but you notice how far up this tell or tepe is built. And if the top ruins are 1,700 years old, 2,000 years old, how far down do the earliest ruins go? They say this place goes back 7,000 years. Could it be a lot further back in history? That's always a possibility. But I've looked at enough of these sites. This gives me just a hint that this is very ancient here. Just reading a little bit here. That pic was taken on November 11th. Looks like archaeological work is going on as that pic was being taken. It says located on the historical Silk Road in the southern province of Adana. The ancient city of Meisis is turning into a center of attraction for history enthusiasts with excavation and restoration work. Archaeologists have reached the final stage in revealing the theater of the city, in addition to their ongoing studies of the 7,000-year-old settlement. But that is a pretty cool look at a very ancient place right there in Turkey. Now, this is one of those videos I just like doing because I just found an ancient site. The more I looked into it, the more I learned. Many different periods of history, different civilizations associated with this. It says the history of the ancient city of Mysis dates back to the Neolithic age. The founding of the settlement is attributed to Mopsus, a seer in Greek mythology. And I'm not very up on my Greek mythology. That's the first time I think I've mentioned that name right there. It says the ancient city is considered an important city of the Roman era and is notable for its mills and caravanserai built during that period. I think that's the first time I used that word right there too. That word caravanserai, I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right, but I think that just means accommodations for ancient people traveling through the desert. I think that's what that means right there. Talks about a couple other periods of history here. The Seljuk and the Ottoman eras. The Seljuks came from about 1,000 years ago. The Ottomans maybe 600, 700 years ago. But it says rumor has it that the ancient city was named the City of Immortality when Luqman al-Hakim dropped the elixir of life while passing through the Roman bridge there. That's a bridge I showed at the beginning on Google Earth. The first research here was launched under the supervision of German archaeologist Professor Theodor Helmuth Wasser. His team started work at the Mound and found a dome cistern belonging to the Islamic period back in 1956 and 1958. The excavations also found pots and pans belonging to the Byzantines. In 1958, mosaics dating to the 4th century were discovered at the church located on the west end of the mound. Here are some more ruins excavated in fairly recent times here. Here's a mosaic they found on the church floor. You notice the animals here, and then the ark, this wooden crate called an ark in ancient times. And they associate this portrait or this mosaic to the story of Noah, the ark, the animals. Well, I guess that makes sense. But to me, this ark is not associated with the Noah story. This was the ark located in Edessa, Turkey that I talked about in this video, the Ark and the Grail, the New Testament. Sanliurfa, ancient Edessa. That would have been about 145 miles away from here, and this ark with the hole in the side, just like it is portrayed here, had a very special relic in it I'll be talking about in the near future. And I did talk about the ark that was in Edessa during the shutdown in May. Here's a video I did, the Ark, Edessa, and the lost chapter of Baalbek. I will leave the link to this video below. Here is the Greek word inside of this. This is the same Greek word they use for the Ark of the Covenant. That's what they literally thought they had in here, is the new covenant of God. There's a dove inside of here and a tail sticking out. All very interesting to me, for sure. I believe this is in the museum in Meisis today, but that is a pretty interesting mosaic. Animals, the Ark, what does this represent? Well, that's a good question. This place was called the City of Immortality, so certain things probably were honored here. Maybe something that I just showed you. But here is a look at the side of this tell. You can get an idea how large this is and kind of the different periods of history built into here. Looks like some pretty good made blocks here. So who were the first people here? That's the question I have. This comes from a pretty old story here. Turkey's Immortality City gets a new lease on life. There is a pic of that impressive mound. And it says down here, the Pisa University professor said Meisis was a very old city, that they had found the remains from the Neolithic, Chalcolithic, early Hittite, Roman, and Byzantine eras. People and history are living here together. This place will become a culture and archaeological park in 2 or 3 years. Seems that has finally come to fruition. He says, we have found pieces from the Neolithic age. Our analysis show that they are from about 7,000 years ago. The ancient city of Meisis hosted various civilizations. So that was a pretty interesting story to do. Learned a lot about a place that really I only heard of by name. So now I know a lot more about it. That's what this is all about, just learning, adding stuff to my list. Here's a look at those ruins a little closer. A Roman era kitchen. There was a water channel built in here that went back to the Iron Age that was found. So this is a pretty interesting site. Layers of history here, and here on the side you can tell if the top layers go back to maybe a couple thousand years, how far down do these earliest layers go? Well, that is the question I have for this place, but they say it goes back at least 7,000 years here. Here's a look from the bridge in Meisis. This was a Roman construction originally, but up there is that tell, or the mound. It goes back at least 7,000 years. You can tell how big it is from this shot right here. That city has a pretty rich history, many different periods of history. That Neolithic mound right there. Thought I'd talk about that today. I'll have some longer videos coming up for you over the next few weeks. Hope you thought that was cool, and you all have a very nice day.